We grow up learning that kindness is a virtue. It's stitched into the fabric of how we define a good person. Smile, say yes, be helpful, be agreeable, be liked. But somewhere along the way, something gets twisted. Kindness, which should be rooted in love and honesty, becomes tangled up with fear. Fear of disappointing people, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. What we end up practicing isn't real kindness anymore. It's people pleasing. And people pleasing isn't noble. It's self-abandonment dressed up as virtue. Real kindness comes from a place of strength, not fear. It says, I see you, I value you, and I can be kind without betraying myself. People pleasing, on the other hand, whispers, if I make you happy, maybe you won't leave. Maybe I'll be safe. One is a gift, the other is a transaction. And when our kindness becomes a constant negotiation for love or worthiness, we are no longer giving, we are bartering. That's not kindness, that's survival. We don't talk enough about how exhausting it is to live like that. When you're constantly scanning a room, calculating who might be upset with you, who needs more from you, who you need to fix or soothe or rescue, you lose yourself. You disappear inside everyone else's expectations. You start to believe your worth is measured by how much of yourself you can sacrifice. And the worst part, you still don't feel loved. You feel used, invisible, resentful. That's the wound of people pleasing. You give everything you have, and somehow it's never enough for them or for you. There's a quiet kind of courage in stepping out of that cycle. It starts small. You pause before you say yes. You ask yourself, am I doing this because it's true to me or because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't? You realize that real kindness sometimes looks like disappointing people. It looks like holding a boundary. It looks like saying, I care about you, but I also care about me. That doesn't make you cruel, it makes you whole. What nobody tells you is that when you stop people pleasing, you actually become more genuinely kind, not less. Your kindness has depth, it has roots. It's not frantic, not anxious, not fake. It's real because it's offered freely, not extracted through guilt. And people can feel the difference. Healthy people are drawn to it. Unhealthy ones may fall away. Either way, you get your life back. You get yourself back. Kindness was never supposed to cost you your identity. It was never supposed to be a leash around your neck. It's time to reclaim it. Kindness is not about shrinking to make others comfortable. It's about standing tall in who you are and offering the best of yourself freely, bravely, and without apology. It starts so innocently. You say yes because you don't want to let someone down. You offer to help because you care. You stay quiet to keep the peace. You do a little more, give a little more, bend a little more. It doesn't feel heavy at first. It feels good even, like you're needed, like you're doing the right thing. But over time, something shifts. You realize you're no longer choosing kindness. You're trapped by it. You're stuck in a role you never fully agreed to, and you don't know how to get out. The cage isn't made of iron bars. It's made of expectations, other people's, and your own. It's the silent pressure to be the one who's always available, always forgiving, always understanding, no matter what it costs you. It's the fear that if you stop, if you say no, if you set a boundary, people will see you as selfish. Worse, maybe they'll leave. Maybe they'll be disappointed in you. So you stay in the cage. You keep smiling. You keep giving. You keep losing pieces of yourself. And the truth is, the longer you live in that cage, the more invisible you become. Not just to others, but to yourself. You stop asking what you want, what you need, what you feel. You convince yourself that being kind means being small, being silent, being endlessly available. You start calling it humility or compassion or service. But deep down, you know it's fear. Fear has wrapped itself in kindness and tricked you into thinking you're noble for disappearing. Here's the heartbreak of it all. People don't even notice. They don't notice the way you swallow your hurt. They don't notice the way you shrink yourself to keep them comfortable. They don't notice the way you betray yourself over and over just to make everything a little easier for them. And how could they? You've made it seamless. You've made it look effortless. You've hidden your cage so well that even you forget it's there sometimes. But cages, no matter how pretty you decorate them, are still cages. And living in one, even a gilded, beautiful one, will slowly, quietly suffocate you. Resentment will grow like vines around your heart. Exhaustion will become your second skin. Your life will feel smaller and smaller until one day you'll wake up and realize you don't even recognize the person you've become. You'll wonder when you stopped being fully alive and started just surviving. There's a brutal kind of bravery in unlocking the door to that cage. It means disappointing people. It means letting some of them down. It means being misunderstood. It means feeling exposed and shaky and terrified. And it also means finally being free. Free to say, I am not here to be everything for everyone. Free to say, my worth isn't tied to how much I can endure. Free to say, I matter too. Real kindness, the kind that heals rather than harms, doesn't demand you live in a cage. Real kindness needs air. It needs honesty. It needs limits. It grows best when it's given freely, not extracted through guilt or fear. When you step out of the cage, your kindness changes. It becomes a gift, not a burden. It comes from a place of wholeness, not depletion. It becomes an act of courage, not compliance. You are allowed to love people deeply and still not set yourself on fire to keep them warm. You are allowed to be kind without being a martyr. You are allowed to be free. Stepping out of the cage is terrifying, but staying locked inside it forever, that's a heartbreak you don't have to live with anymore. Would you like me to also prepare the third keynote next? Authenticity over approval. I can keep the same deep emotional style for you. There's a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud, when you realize you're exhausted from performing. You're exhausted from trying to be palatable, agreeable, pleasant, easy. You're tired of filtering your words, shrinking your dreams, softening your rough edges, all in the desperate hope that people will clap for you, like you, love you. And when that moment comes, you have a choice to make. You can keep chasing approval like a moving target you'll never hit, or you can choose something wilder, scarier, and infinitely more freeing. You can choose to be real. The truth is, approval is addictive. It feels good at first. Every compliment, every nod of acceptance, every "you're such a good person" hits the brain like a little shot of validation. You feel seen, you feel worthy. But the high never lasts. It fades. And then you're left needing more. You perform again, you hide again, you twist yourself into a slightly tighter version of what you think they want. Slowly, you forget what your own voice sounds like. Slowly, you disappear under the weight of being liked. Choosing authenticity over approval feels like stepping off a stage you've lived your whole life on. At first, it's terrifying. You might stumble. You might say the wrong thing. You might disappoint people, and not just strangers, but the ones you love most. You'll find that some relationships were never built on your real self to begin with. They were built on your performance. And when you stop performing, those relationships might fall apart. It hurts. God, it hurts. But it's honest. And honest pain is better than fake peace. When you choose to be real, you stop editing yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. You stop trading pieces of yourself for scraps of affection. You stop needing everyone to understand you because you finally understand yourself. Being real doesn't mean being rude or reckless. It means being deeply rooted. It means letting your no be no and your yes be yes. It means speaking even when your voice shakes. It means honoring your own boundaries, even when it's easier to let them be crossed. There's a grief that comes with letting go of approval. You grieve the version of yourself that spent so long hustling for love. You grieve the connections that can't survive the weight of your authenticity. You grieve the idea that you could somehow keep everyone happy if you just tried hard enough. But after that grief, there's something bigger. There's peace. There's belonging. Not the kind you have to earn, but the kind you carry inside your own chest. Authenticity invites the right people closer. It sifts and sorts without you having to lift a finger. The people who stay, the ones who see you, hear you, love you without the performance, are gold. They aren't just liking the mask you wore. They're loving the messy, beautiful, complicated human underneath. And there is no sweeter connection than that. None. Every time you choose to be real instead of liked, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that you are worth more than the approval of the crowd. You prove to yourself that your voice matters, even when it trembles. You start standing a little taller, smiling a little truer, living a little freer. Approval might fill the moment, but authenticity fills your soul. You are not put here to be liked by everyone. You are put here to live a life that's true. Approval is loud but fleeting. Authenticity is quiet, and it will outlast everything else. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. We often think of boundaries as walls, cold, hard, rigid. We worry that setting boundaries means we're pushing people away, that we're being selfish, difficult, or unkind. But the truth is, boundaries are not walls. They are the invisible lines that protect the most sacred parts of who we are. They are the way we say, this is what's okay with me, and this is what's not. Boundaries are not a rejection of others. They are an act of reverence for ourselves. Without boundaries, kindness turns into resentment. Love turns into obligation. Service turns into sacrifice. When we say yes to everything, when we absorb every demand and expectation without question, we are not being more loving. We are being less honest. And honesty is the foundation of real love. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about inviting them into a relationship with the real you, not the exhausted, hollowed out version you become when you have nothing left to give. At first, setting boundaries can feel brutal, especially if you've spent your life being the nice one, the easy one, the one who always says yes. When you start saying no, people might be confused. They might be hurt. Some might even be angry. But that reaction isn't proof that your boundaries are wrong. It's proof that they are necessary. People who have benefited from your lack of boundaries are often the ones who protest the loudest when you finally build them. Boundaries are an act of trust. Trust in yourself to know what you need, and trust that the right people will honor that. When you set a boundary, you are not controlling anyone else. You are simply taking responsibility for your own well-being. You are saying, I am not here to manage your emotions at the expense of my own health. I can love you deeply and still say, this doesn't work for me. That is not cruelty. That is maturity. One of the most radical lessons in adulthood is realizing that you can disappoint someone and still be a good person. You can say no and still be loving. You can put yourself first without being selfish. We are not meant to abandon ourselves for the comfort of others. We are meant to live in the tension of being both kind and honest, both compassionate and clear. Boundaries allow us to hold that tension with grace. Without boundaries, you betray yourself in 1,000 tiny ways. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you're hurting. You go along to get along. And with each small betrayal, you lose a little more trust in yourself. You teach yourself that your needs don't matter, that your voice is not important, that your value comes from being whatever other people want you to be. It's a slow erosion, and one day you look up and realize you've built a life that doesn't even feel like yours. But when you start honoring your boundaries, something miraculous happens. You start coming home to yourself. You begin to trust your own instincts again. You start living in a way that feels congruent. where your words match your heart, your yes is full-hearted, and your no is grounded and kind. You stop living a life of reaction and start living a life of intention. Boundaries are not a betrayal of kindness. They are an extension of it. They are how we love ourselves well so that we can love others with honesty and depth. They are how we stay connected to who we are, even as we walk through a world that constantly asks us to forget. Boundaries are not about building walls. They are about building a life that feels like home. The power of selective kindness. We've been told our whole lives that kindness should be limitless, that we should offer it freely to everyone, no matter what. That being a good person means being endlessly available, endlessly forgiving, endlessly soft. But here's the hard truth. Kindness without wisdom isn't kindness. It's self-neglect. When you try to water every flower in the garden, even the ones that drain you, you eventually run dry. True kindness, the kind that matters, is selective. Selective kindness is not about becoming cynical or bitter. It's not about walking around with a guarded heart or looking for reasons to withhold love. It's about being wise with your energy, your time, your spirit. It's about recognizing that not everyone is entitled to the best parts of you, your empathy, your patience, your grace. These are precious resources, and if you scatter them carelessly, they lose their meaning. There are people who will take and take and take from you, not out of malice, but because they are wounded themselves. They will drink from your well without ever asking how deep it is. They will expect your understanding, your forgiveness, your endless compassion, without ever offering the same in return. And it is not cruel to protect yourself from that. It is necessary. It is sacred work to recognize where your kindness is healing and where it is being exploited. Selective kindness asks you to pause and ask yourself, is this kindness coming from a place of strength or from fear? Am I being kind because I genuinely want to be, because it feels true to me, or because I'm afraid of conflict, rejection, or guilt? Real kindness is given freely. Fear-based kindness is given to survive, and the difference between the two will shape the kind of life you build. When you are selectively kind, you give your best to the people and places that nourish you, that honor you, that see you. You stop trying to win over those who never had the capacity to value you. You stop bleeding out for people who would not offer you a bandage. You realize that you don't owe everyone the softest parts of yourself just because they ask for them. You are allowed to protect what is sacred inside you. Some will call you selfish for being selective with your kindness. Let them. Some will say you've changed, and they'll be right. You have. You've stopped confusing self-abandonment with generosity. You've stopped seeing your endless availability as a badge of honor. You've started choosing yourself, not in a bitter or hardened way, but in a brave and beautiful way. And that choice will heal you. Selective kindness makes your love deeper, not smaller. It means that when you offer kindness, it's real. It's not given through gritted teeth or weary obligation. It's offered from a full heart, from a place of choice and freedom. And that kind of kindness, the chosen kind, not the coerced kind, is the most powerful force in the world. It transforms relationships. It transforms you. You were not put here to be everything to everyone. You were put here to love with your whole heart, wisely, bravely, and with discernment. Your kindness is a sacred gift. Treat it like one.